You know the drill. You know what I'm about to say. It is good to be back home. The Rockies home for a week after a rough road trip, 2-4 out west. And Jason Hamill will be taking the hill tonight against the Atlanta Braves, leading the National League East at 73-51. The Rockies are 63 up and 60 down. Good evening, everybody. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Well, the Atlanta Braves look like they are set on sending out Bobby Cox on the right note this year. They were very bad in April. Since basically the end of April, they've been one of the two best teams in baseball.
Well, I think, too, you look at it, their pitching is outstanding. They got a great closer that's saying goodbye, oh by the way, and Billy Wagner. But what they have done is they score runs when they need to. Then look at their earned run average since the All-Star break. It's off the charts, 3.04. Particularly, we'll get more into Hudson a little bit longer into this telecast. 579 runs scored, third in the National League. The 27 relief wins tells you they come back a lot late in games. They've had 14 wins in their last at bat so far this year.
Yeah, they've done a terrific job late in ball games, seventh inning on, and it always begins with pitching. They have very good starting pitching, and Tim Hudson, who we'll talk about in a few moments, has been about as good as anybody in the game. So the Rockies will try to get after the Atlanta Braves. We'll break down that pitching match when we return.
I got you, Mikey.
I'm Drew Goodman. Jason Hamill will go for the Rockies tonight, in fact, and at home, he's been terrific.
He has been terrific. 6-1 at home with a mid-3 earned run average. Go figure. You don't figure it out with Hamill. How come he struggled on the road, pitched well here at Coors Field? And again, second ERA. Look at what Hudson's been able to accomplish, 2.15. But Hamill at home, The key to his success here has been his breaking ball, the ability to throw the curveball for strikes when he's been behind in the count. A lot of swing and miss on the curveball. It's a very good 12-6 curveball set up by fastball command, and that's what he's been able to do in this ballpark, and it's something he's going to have to do against a very, very good hitting Braves team.
Absolutely. They're a very disciplined Braves team as well. Let's go down field level to the third member of our crew, Jeff Houston. We'll tell you a little bit more about that super sinker at Tim Hudson.
Well, yeah, that's what it is, and it's going to be a difficult night for the Rockies. You saw his numbers just a moment ago. This guy's never had a losing season in his career and only trails Roy Halladay as far as winning percentage. But he tries to get early outs. He's not worried about the strikeout. He's not worried about inflating his numbers. He wants to go deep into a ball game. He'll sink the ball. He'll cut the ball a little bit. And what the Rockies have to do tonight is make sure that he elevates the baseball a little bit, because that's when he is least effective. And here at Coors Field, record not very good, 0-2 with an ERA just below 10.
Yeah, the numbers at Coors Field are not good. However, he has not pitched here since 2006. Rockies and Braves, come on back to 20th and Blake with us. FSN is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. By E470, quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By Ford Fusion, it's the 2010 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Ford Fusion, drive one. And by Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. There's an afternoon shower that passed through, and enough that the tarp was left on the field during the late afternoon, so neither team hit out on the field. Both teams worked out inside. The Braves coming off a 16-5 shellacking of the Cubs at Wrigley Field yesterday, and that was an emotional day for both Lou Piniella, naturally, since Lou is, because of the fact that his mom is very, very ill, has decided to depart early from Chicago. And Bobby Cox on hand. I thought that was fitting. There's Bobby. This is the final season for Bobby in Atlanta. Two old friends, two of the best managers this game has seen. And Bobby Cox hearing it from the crowd. Dick Montfort saying hello. Dan O'Dowd, Jim Tracy, Paul Egan's, who used to work for the Braves. They gave him a fly ride, George, and a trip up to the mountains.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. That was very nice of them to be to Bobby, who loves to fish, has a farm outside of Atlanta. Another close friend of his, Vinny Castilla, and two guys out of the locker room that have always been fond of Bobby, Keith Schultz and Mike Ponarelli.
Well, Bobby Cox has done a lot of things right through many, many years. And I've never met anybody, George, that doesn't have the utmost respect for Bobby Cox. And right now, his club 2.5 games up in the National League East. As you look at the National League Player of the Week, Omar Infante, all he's done this week is hit .443. He's hitting .348 overall. That's pretty good. Jason Hayward had 4 hits yesterday and a couple of home runs. First time in his career he's accomplished that. He'll be in the 2-hole. Martin Prado hitting .318. He's among the National League leaders in hitting. Then the recently acquired Derek Lee. This is his 4th game as a member of the Braves. All-star Brian McCann, Eric Hinsky, Alex Gonzalez, who came down from Toronto in the trade for Yunel Escobar. Rick Ankiel recently acquired from Kansas City, and Tim Hudson. So 3 guys in their lineup that Jason Hamill will face, George, weren't with the Braves back in April.
They weren't back in April. They've kind of revamped their ball club that had struggled. I think one of the reasons they took off, he's not here either, is Troy Gloss, who's in AAA, working out to get his swing back and get back to third base after the recent acquisition of Derek Lee. Jason Hamill on the hill for the Rockies. We mentioned the numbers at home, very good this year. 6-1, 336 earned run average, 10-9 in his career at his home ballpark against the Atlanta Braves, 0-2. with an earned run average over 12. So we'll just kind of throw that out the window and not pay attention to it. Hamill this year, 5-0 at Coors in his last 8 starts. The ball club 7-1. So it's been very, very good. Iannetta behind the plate, trying to control a very explosive offense at time of the Atlanta Braves.
Let's take a look at the Rockies' defense behind Hamill tonight. Carlos Gonzalez is in left field, Dexter Fowler in center, Seth Smith in right, Stewart, Tulowitzki, Eric Young, and Todd Helton in the infield with Chris Iannetta doing the catching. Jeff Houston is down, I believe, in the camera well, which is his spot when we work the 3-man booth at Coors Field.
You know what? This is the best seat in the house. It's a beautiful night down here. The rains have stopped. The wind's good. And I'm right by the field. Perfect spot.
And no sun in your house.
I know. No rain, no wind, nothing right now, Georgie.
It is a pretty night now. We're set to go. First pitch tonight is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space in your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and to be entered to win a pizza party for 12. One weekly winner will be chosen. And the first pitch of the ball game in there for strike 1 on Omar Infante. Infante, a former Detroit Tiger, acquired a couple of years ago by the Braves. And he hits this on the ground to Tulowitzki. Troy will throw out Infante, 1 out. Now to bring up Jason Hayward. Who wants tacos, fans? Remember, when the Rockies scored 7 or more during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Hayward was a 4-hit man himself yesterday. In fact, between Infante and Hayward, they were 8 for 10 at Wrigley. Both hit a pair of home runs. First time in Hayward's career he hit 2 in a ball game. First time he's enjoyed a 4-hit afternoon.
Last week I was fortunate enough to do the Aflac High School All-American game. They showed video of Jason Hayward playing in that game, and he looked like a skinny little kid. And you look at him now, and it's just been 3 short years, how much he has matured physically. And obviously has helped him with his ability here in the big leagues.
Well, he's doing what he did in Chicago. He continues it here in Denver with a base hit. 1 out, 1 on. And one of the toughest outs in the league coming up in Martin Prado. If you live in Atlanta, you adore this guy. And if you watched him play on a regular basis, you would see why they adore him in Atlanta. He is a gamer. He's a career .308 hitter. He plays hurt. He's a great guy in the clubhouse. George, he's everything you want in a player.
Well, there's no question he is, and it's all about winning. I think that's one thing that Bobby Cox has been able to maintain in his locker rooms as a manager. Now, if you see the players walk in today, everybody's in dress slacks. They're not in jeans. They're in a collared shirt. They're in leather shoes. They're not in tennis shoes. There's not music. There's no earrings. He's been able to maintain a very disciplined way of running things.
Hayward at first, and that's a good-looking pitch. Huey, Prado is one of those guys that, to continue this conversation, he's just a winner. He's a winning player, and I think for years he kind of fell beneath the radar.
Well, and one thing that really tells me he's a winner is the way he said, you know what, Omar feels better at second base, so I'll go over to third base and play there. I'm not worried about my batting or anything like that. If the team needs me at third base, that's where I'll play. Don't worry about it, Bobby.
Yep. Both are all-stars. Both for the first time, Infante and Prado. As you look at the batting race in the National League, Carlos Gonzalez very much involved in that. That's in there 1-2. And he's a lot, for me, like Placido Polanco, even though now he's hitting in the 3-hole. He has a lot of experience hitting in that 2 spot. And he'll shoot the baseball to the right side of the diamond.
Handles the bat well, handles the position well.
Kind of up in the box, 1-2. And this is chopped over the head of Hamilton. A really nice job again by Young. How about his flips this week, Huey?
Unbelievable. The other day, he flips one in L.A. behind his back with the bare hand. This time, I'm waiting for him to go ahead and throw to first base or maybe tag the base runner in Hayward. How about Troy, though, having the wherewithal to say, okay, he might throw it here. And he was ready for that flip, and they almost turned the double play.
I noticed on the replay, too, that Hayward stopped halfway down. I think that helped him a little bit looking out of the corner of the eye. Hayward stopped thinking he might come to try to tag him.
He's got a little point guard in him, doesn't he?
He does. He can distribute. I'm with you. I thought for sure, where that ball was hit, and Hayward runs pretty well. I thought, well, it's automatic. He's going to go to first. Here's Derek Lee. Lee takes inside. Here's the play from Wednesday night, which had the great Vince Scully thinking about it on his drive home, lamenting, saying, I love this game. Why am I going to retire? He actually mentioned that in his press conference yesterday, telling everybody he was coming back for a 62nd year. Derek Lee, ground ball deep in the hole. Tulowitzki, one play, that's the first. Heck's got his back. What a play by Tulowitzki. He does it all the time, and you still can't believe how easy he makes it look.
Play ball. When this ball's hit out over the head of Jason Hamilton, then you see this shot by Tulowitzki followed up by the shot by Eric Young. This long throw all the way across. And just a year ago, Todd Helton led the major leagues with the ability to pick the ball out of the dirt with 65 outs. Think about that. 65 outs on the Hyundai camp. You'll be able to see Helton just focus and take this thing all the way into the glove.
In fact, going back the last 4 years, George, he has picked the ball at first more than any other player in the game. If you watch Todd Helton all the time, that really doesn't come as a surprise. Here's Tim Hudson, and his first pitch to EY is outside and high, ball 1.
controlling the top of the order, something Tim Hudson does. They hit just a .197 leadoff men have. That'll go down more now.
And you'll see a lot of that. Chopped balls in the infield against Tim Hudson. One out as we take a look at the rest of the Rockies lineup. Dexter Fowler will hit behind EY. He had a big day yesterday, knocked in the only run for the Rockies. Then Cargo, Tulowitzki, Todd Helton fifth tonight. Seth Smith, Ian Stewart had a good series in Atlanta back in April. Chris Iannetta will bat eighth, and then Jason Hamill. In terms of ground balls produced, Tim Hudson at the top of the class.
27 double plays. That's #1 in the National League also, so that's why you see that happening for Tim Hudson. He doesn't care about strikeouts, only wants ground ball outs and quick innings.
The guy the Rockies will see tomorrow, Derek Lowe, is third on that list. That's in there also, 0-2.
Backdoor slider. That's something he likes to do with it against left-handers. Run it to the outer half of the plate. He'll run it anywhere from 86 to 88. Make it look like a cutter.
Oh-2. Strike three. Tom Hallion at third base rings up Dexter Fowler. So two are out, and that'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. George, he's a right-handed pitcher who pitches from the extreme first base side of the rubber. More on that in a moment. Hinsky and Keel and Hayward in the outfield. Prado, Alex Gonzalez, Omar Infante, Derek Lee in the infield with Brian McCann, the five-time All-Star, behind the dish.
And a lot of the reason for that, watch how the front side opens. When the front side opens like that, he needs to clear out quick enough to get his hand on top of the hard sinker. It allows him to work inside on left-handers, sink the ball away to the right, to the left-handed bats to try to get those ground ball outs. For me, a lot of times, it's all about comfort and the ability to throw pitches. By the way, quick note, Aaron Cook, 3 innings pitched tonight. 1 hit, it was a home run. A walk and a strikeout for Tulsa. Still pitching in the ball game. I didn't think I went over and saw Aaron Cook the last 3 days while I was at home. By the way, Christian Friedrich out for the next 8 weeks. Will not didn't even want to pick a ball up. He had a strained lat muscle in his previous start. He's had a bad run of luck. Hit with a line drive that he had to skip a couple of starts. He had a stint on the DL with inflammation in the elbow.
3-0 on Carlos Gonzalez. It has been a rough year, not just at the big league level in terms of injuries, throughout the organization. Wilin Rosario.
Well, Brian Reich pulled
ACL surgery.
Brian Reich pulled a hamstring for the 2nd time this year. He's going to miss the rest of the season with Modesto.
Ball 4. Let's take a look at our Suzuki keys to the game.
You know, you have to mention the home turf. You're back. You're well at home. That's where the Rockies have played great baseball. Hamill and Hudson, you're going to see a well-pitched ball game with these two guys with Hamill's record. And then, of course, what Hudson has done his last 6, 5-0 with an 0.82 earned run average. Defense will play a big role on both sides of this thing, particularly for Hudson. With his ground balls on the ground, it's going to allow their defense to get in play an awful lot.
Tulowitzki at the plate, 318 batting average. Cargo dives back in.
That was a good lead from Cargo. Hudson's got pretty quick feet over to first base, so you got to make sure when you get that lead that you're set, not trying to fight to get more.
And Huey, wouldn't you say the game plan would be the same tonight as it's been on the road? You have to try to manufacture runs because of Hudson being out there, even though it's Coors Field.
That's exactly right. Try to get the lead so you can get him out of there.
A line out by Tulowitzki, and the Rockies done in the first. No scores. We go to the second.
guys, thanks very much. You know what? The Atlanta Braves will not get an opportunity to get revenge against Ubaldo Jimenez. Of course, you remember on April 17th this season, Ubaldo threw the first no-hitter in Rockies franchise history against the Braves in a 4-0 win in Atlanta. In fact, he's not scheduled to pitch this series. He's supposed to start on Friday against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, it was the first time Atlanta had been no-hit since Randy Johnson of Arizona pitched a perfect game against the Braves on May 18th of 2004, and it was the 13th time the franchise had been hit altogether. So no Ubaldo. I'm quite sure they're happy about that, guys.
Yeah, I don't know of many guys that raise their hand and say, hey, you know what, let's go face Jimenez. That looks like a lot of fun. Brian McCann, as you just saw in the video, as Alana was describing, made the final out on a 97-mile-an-hour sinker on pitch number 128 that night. A night we will never forget, and any Rocky fan will never forget. Hamill ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Brian McCann. Fastball's up, 2-2. McCann, a career .348 hitter against the Rockies. 21 home runs a year ago. He's got 17, which leads Atlanta.
Typical catcher's body. When you look at the guy at the plate, you see how powerful he is in the lower half, swinging it.
Pulled foul. Rockies have the shift on with McCann. You see more Huey teams, and the Rockies are one of them, that if they read on their charts that he's a pull hitter on the ground, they'll go ahead and throw 3 on the right side. You see it a lot more than you used to.
Yeah, you're playing the averages, and say if he wants to try to hit it to left field, let him.
Well, he did, but right there's the third baseman, Stewart. 1 out.
But you got him out of his game plan, though. Instead of trying to hook a ball, he hit it the other way.
Yeah. Eric Hinsky will be coming up, another left-handed bat. Let's take a look at our Breaks Plus poll of the game. Text your answers to 95323. Should Lou Piniella go into the Hall of Fame as a manager? Of course, Sweet Lou had a terrific career as a player. Text Rocks 1 for yes, Rocks 2 for no. And in the month of August, get a $15 oil change from Breaks Plus. And just to give you some data to work with. Wait, that data went away. Where is that data?
It'll be right back. It's the magic of television.
Show it again. Hinsky out in front of a changeup. 23 seasons as a skipper, 1,835 wins. Won a World Series with the Reds. You know, he had a good record with the Cubs. I mean, people remember what's happened the last year and a half, but you know, Lou won a lot of ball games on the north side of Chicago.
Only manager to get him in playoffs back-to-back years.
Well, not forget what he did up in Seattle, too.
Cincinnati, a world championship. Picked on the biggest guy in the locker room. That wasn't unusual. Cincinnati, when Rob Dibble and Lou differed.
Yeah. You know what? You respected Lou. I mean, you
loved him.
Yeah.
Loved him.
And let's not forget that one season in Seattle with 116 W's.
116 wins, and unfortunately didn't do anything into the playoffs. And everybody had all but given them the World Championship trophy that year.
3-2 on Hinsky. You know, if you looked at it from a Hall of Fame standpoint, service to the game in 48 years between Lou's playing career and his managerial career, you say, boy, that's a Hall of Fame resume in terms of his involvement in the game. Strike 3 on Hinsky.
I will say this: managing and playing in New York will help him with the East Coast flavor of that. Plus, as a general manager, a lot of people forget Lou was a general manager for Steinbrenner. Now, Lou has mentioned privately to friends of ours that realistically the 3 things that really made him want to do this and do it at this time: his mother's very ill, he lost his uncle, Dave Magadan's father-in-law. Dave is the hitting coach of the Boston Red Sox.
Alex Gonzalez lines one to right, and Seth Smith is there.
And very, very quickly, the loss of George Steinbrenner and his very good friend, Bobby Mercer. No score.
Entertaining the Atlanta Braves. Time to go outside the box with Jack in the Box. Bobby Cox, 29 years as a big league manager. Don't forget his years in Toronto. And he's won 2,486 games. That's the fourth most wins of all time. He's won 5 pennants. He's won 100 games or more 6 times. Only he and Joe McCarthy, Huey, can brag about that.
Yeah, and I think to those 14 straight division titles, too.
Todd Helton lines it to center field, and was it caught? No, it was not caught by Ricky Ankiel. And Helton is now a convenient 7 for 11 lifetime against Tim Hudson. What sinker.
Very good low ball hitter, and I think sometimes when you face good hitters as a pitcher, you pressure yourself into mistakes, I think, more than anything else. And I think it's exactly what happened in this situation. Watch where this pitch is. They're wanting to sink it down in a way it stayed to the middle of the plate, sunk a little bit. And on the Hyundai cam, you can see the short hop in dead center field.
Todd Helton at first. Seth Smith is at the plate. I like what Jim Tracy's doing. Obviously, it's a little bit easier now. Brad Hopp is not with the club anymore, and Seth is being given an opportunity really to put his foot down on a regular basis, Jeff.
Well, and that's all you can ask as a player. Give me an opportunity to do it. And now it's going to be up to Seth to get out of that slump that he's in and say, okay, this is my spot for the rest of this year and also moving forward into 2011.
In the last couple of years, this one included, you take his numbers and you double them because he's been a guy that typically doesn't play against lefties. And you're coming up with 25 to 30 home runs and 90 plus RBIs, maybe even 100 plus RBIs.
Well, and the other thing, too, is you've seen now that he can play right field. It's not just a left fielder, that the way Carlos is and the way Jim Tracy likes to flip-flop him when they're playing at Coors Field, not on the road, then he could go from left to right.
Yeah, he has enough arm to play right field.
Well, you're going to find out what kind of player he is. Can he handle the everyday job? Right now, he has struggled. In the month of August, 3 for 35. So you're going to get a look and see what he can do.
2-2. Now he's going to break out at some point here. Look out when he does. Chopped to second, and that's all that the Braves will get. That's a smart play by Infante going to Gonzalez, knowing who was running.
Well, because he saw that Todd had to wait for that ball to get by him, So when you do that as a second baseman, you know where everybody is on the field. Now Todd has to hold up for a second. That's an easy turn, flip, throw to second base. So all of a sudden, what you have to make sure of as a second baseman is that you catch it. You look it into your glove first before you make that spin. So many times we see guys try to be too quick and that ball pops out. But he knew where the runner was, so it's an easier play.
Ian Stewart at the plate with 1 out. 17 home runs for Stewart. And swung on and missed.
Anytime you get a hot batter as a pitcher, that the way Stewart has been, he's hit 333 in the month of August, 18 hits, 50 plus at bats, that you try to off-speed them, do something to disrupt the timing of the ability to hit the fastball.
Seth might want to go back diving next time, because that was pretty close, just going back feet first.
Did you ever get picked off, Huey, not diving?
No, because I was always thinking dive when I went back.
Foul tip, it's 0-2. Knowing you, if you were able to go back standing up, you took another half a step.
Yes, you're exactly right, Drew, because to me, your lead's just not big enough. If you can go back feet first, whether you're going to steal or whether you're not going to steal, it could mean the difference of making it to second base. If a ball's in the hole, shortstop has to go throw to second.
Or the ability to really break up, too.
Yes.
1-2. Rick Ankiel's one of those guys that does not play a real deep center field. He prefers to play shallow and go back, because we all know what kind of power Stewart has.
Remember who he replaced in center field? Jim Edmonds with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he tutored under him very well.
Yeah.
Well, then Colby Rasmus must have taken it from him, because he doesn't play very deep.
No, he doesn't. Swung on and missed. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And that is the second punch out for Hudson.
Somebody that doesn't strike out a lot of people, but somebody that can strike out people when he needs to. Big movement on that sinker at 94 miles an hour.
He's closing in on 1,500 career strikeouts.
Yeah, that's not really his bag. I mean, that's never has been. The one thing he does for me is the ability to win games in the first half and in the second half. An overall record of 162 and 83 for Hudson. But his record in the first half, 82-50. In the second half, 80-33.
I just look at his size, a lot like Roy Oswalt, as far as not big in stature, but man, they can rush that baseball up there.
Yeah, they have similar builds, don't they?
They're very, to me, they're also very, very slow, especially out of the windup. While they're going back, and then that arm just comes through so quick, George. It's just like, wow, there it is. And as a hitter, you're like, okay, I'm timing it, and then the ball's on you.
Slow body, fast arm is the best way to describe it. He's got a nice slow body, but it's a short, quick arm action. It's not a long arm action on the back, and they hide the ball very, very well. So I think you could probably attest to the fact you face a short arm guy coming out, and the ball at 92 is going to appear to be 94 or 95 to a hitter.
We just have to go back to a couple days ago, just yesterday's ball game. Daniel Hudson, he was a long arm slinger. Now you compare this, and this is what the hitters have to go through, from a long armor yesterday to a short armor today.
Jim Tracy said before the game, a lot of it to do is, for hitters, is all about adjustments. If you can't make the adjustments, you're not going to be in the big leagues very long. Tracy trying to figure out what his club can't do out on the road. That's score runs. Runners on base. Mr. Hudson on the mound. They're hitting $180. That's pretty good dominance.
2-2.
And because of his arsenal, sinker, four-seamer, cutter, slider, split, change, you really can't set on one pitch, because he can throw them all for a strike.
His primary pitch, though, is that hard sinker. 2-2 with Smith at first, drawing another throw. Hard hit ball. It knocks down Gonzalez, and he still is able to flip to Infante for the force out. And Chris Ionetta smoked it, but right at Alex Gonzalez. Rockies done in the second. We'll go to the third, no score. E47, quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. Here's what's on the menu this week for the Rockies. A 3-game set with these Braves. Thursday's an off day, and then Joe Torre and the Dodgers come to town. Before the Rockies head west again to San Francisco, they'll also see San Diego next week. Jason Hamill to face Rick Ankiel. Signed as a free agent in the offseason by the Kansas City Royals, and didn't play many games for the Royals because he had a hamstring injury, and then he was moved on to Atlanta,
where he has struggled in an Atlanta uniform. No home runs, 6 RBIs, and a .210 average.
One out, and that'll bring up Tim Hudson. To me, Hudson, Huey's always kind of fit with Atlanta. You know, you go back to the Smoltz, the Glavins. Not only were they great pitchers, but they were tremendous athletes. And Hudson's a good athlete also.
Well, he is. Yeah, I mean, he can hit a little bit, but he's just so athletic on the mound, getting over, covering first base, fielding his position. I mean, I was talking to Frank Wren, their GM, before the ball game today, and he was talking about not only their pitching staff here, but they've got some guys down in AA that are right on the cusp.
This is a Baltimore chop to Hamill. He'll set his feet. Now, Hudson's running hard. You got him by a step. Well, speaking of young pitchers, yesterday Mike Minor, a left-hander, very well thought of by the Braves, improved to 2-0. He pitched 6 innings at Wrigley Field for He struck out a dozen.
Well, that's the thing about it. They have a bunch of hard throwers, and the one thing the Braves do very good in their minor league system, they work on secondary pitches. So it sets up the fastball a lot of times, but they have an awful lot of hard throwers. And what part of that development comes from is, I call them graybeards. They have a lot of older guys down working in the minor league system with a lot of these young pitchers. They're the grandfather type.
Here's the 1-0 on Omar Infante. Grounded as short his first time up, 1-1. Remember, it was somewhat controversial when Charlie Manuel had an opening on the National League roster for the All-Star game, and he selected the super utility man Omar Infante. In front of, among others, Carlos Gonzalez. This is a ground ball up the middle and a base hit. Well, now when you look at Infante's numbers, I think people understand why he was selected and his versatility on defense.
Well, with that new rule about being able to reinsert one guy into the lineup, that's part of the reason why Omar was chosen. Now he's got a 12-game hitting streak, one of his best of his career, and is just kind of building on what happened after the All-Star break.
12-game hitting streak now for Infante. 2 outs. Here's Hayward. Well, yesterday Omar went deep twice. Marlon Byrd watching that one sail out. And he hit one to virtually the same spot later on.
Well, hot days at Wrigley Field in the middle of the summer, you'll see the ball carry an awful lot. Some of the numbers on Jason Hayward at home plate, hitting now, this young rookie in the quest for Rookie of the Year. Tied for 3rd in home runs, tied for 7th in RBIs, 1st in runs, 4th in hits. His 23 doubles are tied for 2nd. He's put on a show.
Infante was asked today, and Martin Prado was interpreting for the reporters about whether or not he could win a batting title, and he's playing every day now with the injury to Chipper Jones. That's inside. He needs 3.1 plate appearances for every game played by the Braves, so he has some catching up to do in the National League race. He answered by saying, you know, I'm not concerned about it at all. I'm just trying to do the best I can every day and help the Atlanta Braves. That's kind of a typical Bobby Cox player response to that type of question. 3-1 on Jason Hayward.
These are the kind of counts that if you're Todd Helton at first base, you're not liking a whole lot. 3-1 with a big guy like Hayward up there, and you're 90 feet away.
Look at his foot. See how it's squared up now behind the home plate area, where when his back foot in the deal, he was opening that foot up a little bit. So what he would do when he would come forward is really locking his hips up. Obviously, those hips aren't being locked up right now.
Infante is going to go first to third on that single by Jason Hayward.
Another look at what we're talking about with his back foot being square to the back line. You can see here how this foot is straight now instead of being open, but those hips really open up to the baseball. That ball was on the inner half. You can see Ionetta reaching back for it, and he just turned on it and shot it through the hole.
Martin Prado hit a little bouncer over the mound that Eric Young made a fine play on to get a force out at second in the first inning. Now Hamill's got to bear down. These are the innings in the past that have been troublesome for Jason, trying to put a rally down. He usually has one inning where he scuffles. Hopefully he's able to get a very tough man in Martin Prado here. And he will. One pitch, got the ground ball to second. Young was positioned perfectly by the infield coordinator, Richie Dower. No scores. We go to the bottom of the third. Score bottom of the third. Tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report is brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Let's check in again with Alana Rizzo. There she is. Hi, Alana.
Hello, guys. This is our inning. This is the big inning for the Colorado Rockies. The third inning, for whatever reason, has been very kind to them. The Rockies have scored 97 runs in the third. That's 23 more runs than any other inning. In fact, the closest one would be the eighth inning, where they've had 74 runs scored. So for whatever reason, the third inning is a charm. Let's get it going right here, guys.
Well, the third inning has been good to the Rockies, particularly at home. 0-2 on Jason Hamill. Another foul ball. You know, it's amazing. The Braves are 29-34 on the road. That's not amazing. It's not a great road record. In fact, along with Texas, they're the only two teams that are leading their respective divisions, strike three, with a below 500 road record. What is amazing is they're 44-17 at home. And get this, they have played 20 home series in 2010. They have won 17 of them. They've split 2. They've been beaten at home in a series 1 time. They lost 2 of 3 back in early April, third week of April to be exact, to the Phillies.
But not only that,
it.
It's not just the pitching in that ballpark either. It's where they hit in that ballpark and how they hit.
Eric Young Jr. bounced to second his first time up.
Well, receive $10 to $15 in free concessions with power tickets. They're available for every single home game at Coors Field.
One ball, 2 strikes on EY. Young on the road trip was 7 for 25, a .280 batting average, which for the Rockies on that road trip was outstanding. The other guy who hit well on the trip was Fowler. Dexter went 8 for 24, .333. The Rockies hit well below 200 on that trip. They scored 8 runs in 6 games.
135 with the runners in scoring position, 198 as a team. They're hitting .228 on the road, .298 at home. Somebody explain that. Of course, this reminds me a little bit of, when I got here 13 years ago. It's kind of the same thing. They'd win a game at Coors Field, 16-12, and they'd get on the road and score 3 or 4 runs.
Now is a good game, scoring 4. It's been the same every year pretty much. Not a miss. 4th strikeout for Tim Hudson. That'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Geico quote of the day. Ted Turner. I bought the Braves for 2 reasons: to get an autographed baseball without pleading for it, and to get good seats.
Well, he had good seats for a long time, and he got a lot of autographs. And he got a lot from the same exact players because they all stuck around for a long time.
Well, he doesn't own the Braves anymore, but I think he can afford good seats.
Well, that's probably part of the deal.
Not a miss by Fowler.
You're starting to see a lot more of that split finger now from Hudson. These guys are going up there thinking, okay, he's going to try to get ahead of that with that first pitch fastball. We've seen it now twice to Eric Young Jr. and Dexter Fowler.
That's a fastball in the outside corner with sink.
Try to peek in a little bit from long distance to see what McCann's going to. And a lot of times what he likes to do is take the slider or slash cutter and work to the outer half of the plate to left-handers and lock them up. He's ahead 0-2.
hit up the middle for Dexter.
You won't see that mistake made by Hudson very often on an 0-2 pitch to get that much of the plate. Good job, Dexter Fowler.
Second hit for the Rockies. Hilton has the other one, and that will allow Cargo to hit here in the third.
As soon as that ball went back up the middle, Hudson just slapped his glove like, I can't believe I missed my spot.
But, you know, that's also typical of a guy like Hudson. He doesn't waste many pitches, George.
Well, he doesn't want to get into this spot either, though, that he's in right now, and that is on an 0-2 count with a runner on first to Gonzalez. Probably the best, or it is the best power hitter the Rockies have in their lineup.
Cargo walked his first time up. And now Dexter's going to do a little gardening around first base.
His foot slipped just a little bit when he went to dive back.
Gonzalez averaged the last 27 games at Coors Field, .416.
Is that good?
13 home runs, 31 RBIs, and the Rockies are 20-7 when he swings the bat in the lineup.
Get a good look from the Hyundai cam how that left foot just kind of, when he went to go push off, it was like really just kind of moving in the same spot. He couldn't get that good grip to dive hard.
Outside on Gonzalez. Tonight, the first time he's ever seen Tim Hudson. It's the batting race. It's very tight. Joey Votto and Polanco, Prado, Pujols, and Gonzalez. Carlos did not start Thursday, Friday, or Saturday after running into the wall in LA on Wednesday. He did have a pinch hitting appearance and walked Saturday night, and then was 0 for 4 yesterday. 1 for 11 on the road trip. Two and 0. Showing good patience.
Part of the maturity factor and the ability to be able to hit what he does. If he didn't have the patience that he does, he wouldn't hit .315. He'd be chasing a lot of pitches out of the strike zone.
He has that rare ability sometimes to take a pitch that's maybe a little bit down or a little bit off the plate and still smoke it. 3-0. Hudson, clearly, Huey, you can tell the first 2 times facing Gonzalez, showing him a lot of respect. He's been very cautious.
Well, he walked him the first time. Now he's fallen behind 3-0 on him. And after that last pitch, it's about as demonstrative as you're going to see Tim Hudson. I mean, he was yelling at himself, and it's just not like him to do that.
3-0. He's swinging, and it's driven to right center field and deep. Over the head of Hayward, does not go over the wall. That will allow Fowler to score, and the Rockies take a 1-0 lead on the double by Carlos Gonzalez.
When the beat goes on here at Coors Field, just mention those numbers over 400. And turn the young man loose when you struggle. If you make a mistake and you pay for it. Hudson made a couple of mistakes. An 0-2 pitch to Dexter Fowler resulted in a base hit. Too much of the plate against Gonzalez, and he hits his 22nd double of the season and his 80th RBI, another milestone touched by this young outfielder.
It was just nice to see the confidence that Jim Tracy had Carlos Gonzalez to turn the young man loose 3-0, knowing that that might be the best pitch he's going to get. The other good thing is that ball didn't bounce over the wall. How many times have we seen that hit that warning track and hop over? With Jason Hayward, big, large frame, just missed it out of the reach of his glove, but it stayed in the ballpark.
And a chance to drive in another run. Here's Troy Tulowitzki. He lined to short his first time up. Tulowitzki 3 for 7 lifetime against Tim Hudson. So he's had some success.
He's hit .348 since he came off the DL with 3 home runs and 19 RBIs.
You know, every advanced scout comes up with, you know, perhaps a little different report. It's interesting for me in that when you look at Rick Ankiel in center field, he has swung probably 7-8 strides, big strides, toward right center field with Tulowitzki up there. I haven't seen that kind of alignment before.
Well, it tells me the Braves are probably going to try to elevate the fastball. If they go upstairs and he hits it in the air, it's going to be the right side because of where they throw the pitch, up and away from him. And he has enough velocity on his fastball, Hudson does, that it's not going to be an easy pitch to pull up there. When you have pitchers that can pitch to the defense, it sure makes life a lot easier, both on the pitcher and on the defense.
Jeff, you seen that defensive alignment before in the outfield?
I'm surprised, too, after a couple of the balls that Troy hit down in Arizona with the advanced scout watching that ball game, the way he hit it there.
This is to right, and Derek Lee comes up with it. A hot shot with Derek Lee, one of the finest defensive first basemen in the game the last decade. Rockies take a 1-0 lead. Fowler scores on a Carlos Gonzalez double. 1-0 Rockies. Double. This date in history is brought to you by Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. We go back to 2006 on August the 23rd. Joining the 89 Pirates, the Royals become the second team in history to have a 10-run first inning and not win the game. At Kauffman Stadium, Kansas City took a 10-1 lead, but were defeated by the Indians in 10 innings, 15-13. 0-1 on Derek Lee. Talk about a good fit. Derek Lee to the Braves. I mean, he's a Bobby Cox type player.
Yeah, and he turned down 3 or 4 other trades to different ball clubs where he could have gone and played first base, but he wanted to play for Bobby. He wanted to go down to a ball club to where it was going to be a good fit that it might work into beyond this year. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
You know, he lives in California. He turned down that trade most notably to the Angels, which is a great franchise, a perennial contender, and they were still somewhat in it at that point in time.
Well, some guys maybe a little more comfortable playing away from their home than they are at home.
And Lee is gone. Jason Hamill with his second punch out of the game. That'll bring up Brian McCann.
On the zone, big guys like to elevate and get quick, so you elevate a fastball with something behind it, you're going to have some pretty good success, and that's exactly what they did to Derek Lee. It's the most dangerous part of this lineup with Lee, McCann, and Hinske.
The last fastball cruised across at 95.
By the way, just a very quick update on Aaron Cook. 5 innings in the ball game in Tulsa on his first rehab start. He's been throwing bullpen, so he threw a simulated game on Wednesday. With 5 innings, 3 hits, a run. The run came in the first on a home run. He threw 63 pitches, 42 strikes. So that's a decent night. 4 strikeouts for Aaron Cook on his way back.
And the plan is Aaron will make another start on the 28th. And then the Rockies will reevaluate where he is, and he may be able to join the big club on September 2nd. Of course, rosters expand on September 1st. McCann with a 2-strike count.
Some of the good news here, too. 8 ground ball outs in that ball game, only 3 fly ball outs.
How many pitches, George?
63 and 5, which is outstanding. And he was pitching against the Frisco Rough Riders, a team that moved into the outfield. Too risky just out of his reach for a base hit for McCann. But he was pitching against a very good ball club that has an awful lot of speed. I was able to watch games there the last 3 nights.
1 out, McCann at first for Eric Henske, who was caught looking his first time up. Well, here's what you do if you want to go to the World Series. You go sign Eric Henske. Henske has been to the World Series each of the last 3 years with Boston, Tampa, and the Yankees a year ago.
Well, don't think that some general managers don't think about that either. And you can attest to it. There's guys that are very superstitious about that. They said, let's go grab this guy. Maybe that magic will run 1 more year.
So far, so good for the Braves. And Eric Henske, he was former American League Rookie of the Year.
Back in his days with Toronto. Here's the 0-1 on Henske. And you know what? He's had himself a very solid career.
Well, he came up as a third baseman, and now he's kind of reinvented himself as an outfielder / part-time hitter coming off the bench.
And this is a base hit for Henske the other way. Now the Braves have 2 aboard and 1 out with a guy who can hit the ball over the wall and shortstop Alex Gonzalez. Let's check out our AT&T trivia question tonight. Who are the 3 switch hitters to hit 400 or more home runs in their career? Huey, I know one guy you know. Yeah, one guy you know very well.
Yeah. I'll hang on to that one. Think about the other 2.
So Alex Gonzalez is at the plate. Gonzalez, if you combine his Toronto stats, has hit 20 home runs this year and driven in 69. He has more home runs, more doubles, more RBIs than any other shortstop in the game.
And he's another guy that fits better here with Bobby Cox than Escobar was.
Bobby, in a conversation I had with him this afternoon, Bobby was raving about Alex Gonzalez. Unsolicited mention him. And he turns and fouls this off down the right field line.
Well, Joe Simpson told me earlier, one of the broadcasters, he said it's kind of like a highlight reel up the middle now for the Atlanta Braves, and it hadn't been like that. Defensively, offensively.
Oh, we saw that play earlier in the game that he made off the bat of Chris Iannetta. From his backside being able to throw to second base.
Originally from Venezuela, makes his home in Florida. It's the 1-1. And a good live fastball, George. That jammed Gonzalez. 1-2.
Velocity is the big key to that thing. It was 95, one of the harder pitches that Hamill's thrown in the game, and that's something that he's learned to do. When in trouble, elevate the velocity of his fastball, but continue to hit the location. If you set 90, 92 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden you throw it 95, it gets on hitters quickly.
One, 2. That's a really good slider. Gonzalez did well just to get a piece of it.
Yeah, you know that, and that's the pitch he wanted him on. That's what gets you a little bit as a pitcher. You make that filthy, nasty slider, and the guy just keeps the ball in play. You got to go back to that thought process. Do you go to it again? Do you want to make sure you hit your location again?
McCann at second, Henske at first. So a couple of station-to-station runners inside, 2-2. Alex Gonzalez missed the entire 2008 season with the Reds. He had a compression fracture in his knee, and he was hitting just .210 last year with Cincinnati when they traded him to Boston. He did better with Boston and then signed with Toronto, but he's healthy again. He's a guy that's put up some big numbers before. 23 home runs with Florida in '04.
Just getting enough of that slider.
The hitter's confidence always grows when they see your whole repertoire and they're still at the plate, battling away. 2-2. Left up, and it is going to twist foul. It was hit a long way.
It appeared to be the 12-6 hook. It was at 77 off of the slider, so instead of throwing a straight change, he had a little more confidence to back off velocity-wise, about 7-8 miles an hour, and his curveball problem was it hung into the zone. He didn't put it out on the outer half of the plate where he needed to put it. Luckily, he hooked it foul.
What do you like here?
Personally, for me, I'd like to see it not let him extend his arms and run a fastball inside. I'm not sure that's where they'll go with it, but fastball for a strike.
They went fastball inside. It's fouled off again.
That's the pitch, honestly, that I'd be looking for, because in my mind, I'm thinking the pitcher doesn't want to hang another breaking pitch.
Next pitch will be the 9th of this at bat. The inning began with a strikeout of Derek Lee. Then McCann had a soft single. Hinske singled to left field. Rockies up 1-0.
The only thing he hasn't seen so far, George, is that straight change.
Yeah, but then you slow it down to about 84, 85. You run into, I think, unless it has some big sit to it, you have to be careful with a straight change. And in this situation, when your club up 1-0, the last thing you want to do is get beat with your fourth best pitch, or give up runs on your fourth best pitch. One thing I have noticed, he had 38 pitches at the start of the inning. He's approaching that 20th pitch of the inning right now after a couple of singles and a strikeout. See 20 pitches now here in the fourth, cruised along in the first 3.
He's hung a couple of breaking balls in this sequence. Fastball at 96, down and away.
Let's see all the different locations that he's gone to and how much he's gone to. From down and away with a slider to hard in with a fastball, a couple of hanging breaking balls. Make the best pitch you can in this situation that you believe in.
Line to right. Smith's got to go back. He will. He makes the catch. And McCann and Hinske will return. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Rick Ankiel. So a long at bat for Gonzalez. A very good at bat by Gonzalez.
No, just pushes the pitch count up. It was a very good at bat. This last ball scalded by Gonzalez in a pretty good location from Hamill. Trying to go to the outside corner. It was off of the plate. He just a long extension is where he's positioned to the plate. Smith makes a nice running play back on the baseball.
Seth got a great jump on that, George.
Yeah, he really did. Here's one of those guys, Ankiel, that's hitting 8th in your lineup. But you better be careful and not make a mistake with this young kid. I mean, because he struggled so poorly with this ball club. He's yet to hit with Atlanta, .188 the overall average. On the season, Ankiel hitting 210. Dropped after the last at bat, 206 now.
Well, you're right, Georgie. I mean, this is a guy that has a track record of being able to produce offensively. And yeah, he's scuffling. But he hit in an RBI spot with St. Louis, and he was expected to hit in an RBI spot with Kansas City. And that misses 2-0 on the 31-year-old Rick Ankiel. Former pitcher, as many of you know.
That seems like quite a few full moons ago when he was doing that.
Probably seems like a lifetime ago to Rick. Last time he pitched in the big leagues, 2004.
Had a long, hard trail back through the minor leagues as a center fielder, right fielder. After giving up on the pitching side of things on the 4th strike zone, good hook.
Two years ago, he had 25 home runs, drove in 71 for the Cardinals. Here's the 2-1, and that's a great breaking ball. 2-2.
Very good production. What are you talking about for the Cardinals as a center fielder? Look on the 4th strike zone. One more look after the 2-1 hook. He comes right back to it and induces the swing by Ankiel. Copa called it immediately after Iannetta called it, caught it, checked it.
Here's the 2-2. Got it. Great job of pitching by Jason Hamill. He outlasts Alex Gonzalez, and then with 2 aboard, he strikes out Rick Ankiel. 1-0 Rockies, middle of 4. Brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T Rethink Possible. By Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. By Hager, established in 1926. Your own great moment starts at Hager.com. And by Hyundai Uncensored, real people, real comments on the 2011 Hyundai Sonata. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Helton leading off in the 4th inning with the Rockies ahead 1-0. He takes a strike from Tim Hudson. He blistered a ball up the middle his first time. He's now 7 for 11 lifetime against Hudson. Sliders down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Helton since June the 10th at Coors Field, hitting .344. And that's away. 2-1. Smith and Stewart to follow. How about this on Tim Hudson? Just how dominant has he been? Well, he has the 2nd lowest ERA in baseball at 2.15. Over his last 6 starts, coming in 5-0 with an .082 earned run average.
Well, he's back to being a Tim Hudson that he was with the Oakland Athletics prior to all the surgeries, prior to the injuries that he had to deal with. And typically coming back off Tommy John, it's not the first year.
Help drives another one. This one down into the right field corner. Single and a double now for Todd. And he moves further up that all-time doubles list. That's his 523rd career double.
Behind in the count with soft stuff, then comes back with a fastball inner half that he makes the mistake with. You can see on the Hyundai cam everything loaded to that backside. That's the Todd Helton of old. Jim Tracy said, I've seen flashes of it in the last week and a half of the power and what you're looking for from Todd Helton, and you're finally starting to see it here on the home turf.
Here's Smith, runner at second, nobody out. Let me tell you how special that particular double was. And Todd, whose least favorite subject is himself, I'm going to ask him later on about this one, because he just moved into 37th place on the all-time doubles list. You know who he tied? Willie Mays.
Talking earlier, and it's going to move Helton over to third base.
Nice job by Smith.
Some gentlemen here in the booth from Aspen that said, you know, when you start talking about players and you start to talk about individuals, and when the word history comes into it, it even makes it that much more special for Todd Helton to be in the history of the game of baseball.
Well, Huey, when you're in the same company as Willie Mays,
yeah,
they're greats, they're all-time greats, and then there's the folks that are even a cut above that, and Willie Mays falls into that category.
Yeah, he's a cut above that, and to be on that list, be tied with him, that's special. And I think the fans of Colorado understand what a treasure it's been to watch Todd for so many years.
Infield comes in halfway, and Stewart has yet to make contact on that heater from Tim Hudson. Struck out his first time up. He's down 0-1 here. Another big name, all-time name that Helton's approaching. He's 2 behind Ted Williams on the doubles list. Now Stewart's going to have to find a way to get this ball in play here. Hopefully to the outfield with the infield at halfway.
Yeah, Seth Smith did his job. Now it's up to Ian Stewart to do his.
Never want to give him a chance to get a ball on the inner half of the plate for Stewart to pull. Everything was down and away against Stewart, and he struck him out. Now this at bat going right back the same way with the first 3 offerings.
So make the adjustment if you're Ian, because you've seen 7 pitches now in the same spot.
Make it 8.
And he got it to the outfield and plenty deep enough. Stewart has hit it. 2-run bomb, Ian Stewart. He did one better than a sac fly. His 18th jack of the year. It's 3-0 Colorado. Time for the course light, cold hard blast. He got the fastball up and Stewart smoked it. Pretty sight as that ball exits in center field. 18 home runs, 59 driven in now for Stewart. He did it behind in the count.
A 1-2 count, and that ball kept going. That's the difference between Ian Stewart and a lot of guys, is the way that ball, when it went left the bat, yeah, he hit it good, but it wasn't one of those loud banging sounds, and the ball just kept going, and finally it went out.
You know, I talked about it, Hudson hitting his spots against Stewart, and he had hit them the first 7 times. And then when he comes up, you look to where this pitch is. Yes, it's away, but it's not down. The ball's up. Above the belt line for Stewart. Very good high ball hitter, and enabled him to lift the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, 2 things about that, Jeff Houston, as George accurately described it. where he hit that, even though it's off the plate a little bit, that's middle of the plate because of where Stewart stands.
Right, and that's why he has that power away sometimes into center field, is because he stands about 6 inches away from the plate. So even balls that are off the plate, away, or maybe up, he's still able to get that barrel in. And that time he was able to hit it out to dead center.
1-2 on Iannetta, and he pops it up in the infield. Alex Gonzalez calling. And that's the second out.
Well, I will say this for the Rockies tonight. Whenever Tim Hudson has made a mistake, they've made him pay for it. Carlos Gonzalez with his double. Todd Helton, they missed his spot. Dexter Fowler, he missed his spot. And, of course, Ian Stewart, the last one. Every single time Hudson hasn't hit it, boom, they've hit it.
Boom goes the dynamite, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I knew you wanted to run that line. I just thought I'd beat you to it. 0-1 on Jason Hamill. And by the way, that home run for the Rockies, their first since 8 days ago at home. Hudson redirects it to short. Gonzalez has plenty of time. They did not hit a ball out on the recent 6-game road trip. Rockies get the 2-run blast from Ian Stewart, and they lead it 3-0 as we move on to inning number 5 and 20th at Blake. For the 5th, Tim Hudson will lead off for Atlanta. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Jeff Houston, and Alana Rizzo. All right, who are the 3 hitters to have hit 400 or more home runs? That's our AT&T trivia question. And Eddie Murray played with Jeff Houston. Mickey Mantle hit 536, and Larry Jones has hit 436. And Chipper's not with the Braves. He's rehabbing right now. He will join them on their next 2 road trips. But he's rehabbing back in Atlanta, that knee injury. And where it looked like it was a foregone conclusion, fellas, that Chipper was going to hang it up at the end of this year, I think that injury may have altered his plans.
Well, I think that and the success he had, too. I mean, he was playing horribly. He went into Bobby Cox's office and said, I'm done. A couple of players heard about it, couldn't believe it. He went on quite a tear prior to the injury.
The only thing that's going to be different for him if he does come back, he's going to have to play for a new manager. Bobby Cox is the only guy he's ever played for.
Well, all the arrows are pointing towards Gonzalez, who was fired by Florida. I know there's a lot of people that want him to get the job within the organization. See if it happens or not.
Freddie's a Brave. Freddie Gonzalez has worked under Bobby Cox. And not a lot of things change in Atlanta very frequently. Obviously, Bobby there forever. John Shearholtz, even though his titles changed, now the president.
Those 2 guys have put the stability in. It hasn't been, Frank Wren hasn't been there long enough the way John Schuerholz and Bobby Cox formed that duo.
Omar Infante coming up, and let's check in with Alana Rizzo.
All right, guys, you know what? Our counterparts on the Braves side said if you ever want to interview Omar Infante, you better make sure that Martin Prado is within earshot. The reason being these two guys are buddies, but more so, Martin Prado serves as Omar Infante's translator home and on the road. In fact, Omar Infante does speak English, but he's a little nervous, as you might imagine, to do in front of the camera. And Martin, so you have to make sure both of the guys are available and both are in a good mood, willing to do it. Best of friends, and of course, first-time All-Stars together for the first time this year, guys.
Yeah, they were conducting an interview today. I mentioned that earlier. Infante had a gorgeous season. 12-game hitting streak after his single in the third. 1-2 the count on Infante.
He wears one of those elbow pads. That's not unusual, but he's got almost like a big wrist protector on his left wrist, right below the wristband.
I think that stems from a lot of guys that check swing, hear you, I'm thinking slider, and they look fastball, and they get their hand out and can't get it back and get nailed a lot.
Stewart throws out Infante, and they're 2 gone. Time for our Excel Energy fun fact. Yoli Chassin threw a beautiful ball game yesterday. 7 2/3 of shutout baseball down in Phoenix. He has a 3.98 ERA, 102 strikeouts. Let me add something. The ERA is much less if you remove when he's worked out of the bullpen. As a starter, his ERA is south of that. The Colorado record for ERA by a rookie is 4, set by Denny Stark in 2002. And the record for strikeouts by a rookie, Sean Chacon, back in 01, struck out 134. 22-year-old Yolis Chassin. 0-1 on Jason Hayward. And that's going to drop for a base hit. Third knock for Hayward. What's going on, man? He's got 7 hits in the last 24 hours.
Well, he destroyed the Rockies when they were in Atlanta, and he's doing it here against them here at Coors Field pretty well, too. And he's fighting a lot of pitches off. Well, he jerked the one to right field, but that last pitch, he really fought that off well and laced it into left field.
And here's Prado again. He's 0 for 2. Came into the ball game with 147 hits, tied for the league lead in that department. And he takes a strike. He's another one of those guys not afraid to hit behind in the count.
Well, when you have an average like he does, you can't be. Yeah, because every pitch, you can't be up there swinging on the first or second pitch. And a lot of guys feel comfortable doing it. Some guys don't.
You don't see that at the big league level anymore, and that is blowing a hitter up on the inside half and not only moving his feet but moving the upper body and just put the thought in his mind. Good pitch by Jason Hamill.
The other thing too is he's coming off a fractured right pinky finger and he still hasn't missed a beat.
Still is bothered. They say it still bothers him somewhat. Joe Simpson mentioning that to me. He also switched bats. He had a light colored bat when he was up the previous time. Now he's gone to a dark bat.
He just came off the disabled list with that broken pinky on Tuesday, and he's hit 5 of his first 6 games back. I mentioned the 147 hits. He's tied with Brandon Phillips for the top spot in the league. Hayward draws a throw. Cargo's not far off. He has 142 hits. Of course, missed a few days last week. Hamill's done a good job. He had a solid outing in Los Angeles. No decisions, 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on just 4 hits. The only thing that was a little bit odd about his outing in LA is he walked 4. Hamill typically doesn't walk many. That was the ball game the Rockies eventually won in 10, 3-2, and Dotel threw all those wild pitches.
That's also how LA scored their first run. A couple wild pitches from Jason to put them ahead 1-0. That was a game of wild pitches.
It was a road trip of wild pitches. We saw a few down in Arizona.
Yep.
Like the first run against Ubaldo. Came on a wild pitch. Rockies leading 3-0 here tonight in their return to Denver, a 6-game homestand. The Dodgers will come in over the weekend. Hit to deep center field. Fowler going back, and this one's gone. Martin Prados tightened things up with a 2-run home run. His 14th of the year. It's 3-2.
47 RBIs too. He finally got a pitch up into the strike zone. The 80th pitch offered by Hamill in the ball game. He visited the deepest part of the ballpark. McGee and Stewart trying to elevate this fastball. That ball was almost over his head. That was shoulder high fastball. And he got under this with some authority and sent this thing sailing to dead center field. I didn't think the ball was that elevated, Jeff, when it left his bat.
Shocking. It really was, because just looking on that forward strike zone, it almost didn't make it on there. And he still had enough where he could get that right hand. Watch the right hand still get on top of that ball.
Well, when you can see the pitch is right across his chest. I mean, it's pretty amazing where it is.
Yeah, Huey, guys don't generally get on top of that.
No, not at all. But you could see him kind of fight to get his body up there where he could then throw that top hand at it.
1-1 on Derek Lee. Fouled off. 1-2 on Lee. Like Todd Helton battling back issues. Really is bothersome when he runs. George, I know he impressed the Atlanta Advance folks when he hit 4 home runs against the Cardinals about 10 days ago.
Well, they're just they're hoping that they would get a little bit of fire left in the bat when going down to the stretch and get Troy Gloss back and have 2 big right-handers. Well, the Rockies on top. It's 3-2. They're coming to the plate in the 5th. With his 14th, getting Atlanta on the board.
For all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Braconier at 303-777-3037. Think green, think Braconier. Eric Young Jr.'s third look at Tim Hudson. And this is a little flare that's grabbed by Gonzalez, 1 out. I'll bring up Dexter Fowler. He got the Rockies going in the 3rd inning with a 2-out single. Now it's followed by a Carlos Gonzalez double on a 3-0 pitch. Toronto right now is even with the bag, and I thought you might see that, Huey, from Dexter shortening up.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you tried to work your way with the sinking fastball, so go up there looking for it so you can drop it down the third baseline.
And this is a bouncer to Lee, and Derek takes care of it.
Really makes it look easy. Hey, buy your tickets if you haven't for the Dodgers series this weekend, August 27th through the 29th. The Dodgers come to town. Manny Ramirez has been activated.
Well, Tim Hudson's 2/3 of the way doing what any manager wants a starting pitcher to do, particularly after their team has scored a couple. Get him right back to the bat rack. He's got 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning. Here's Gonzalez. Outside on Little Pony.
48 innings now, or excuse me, 48 and a third. When Ed Stewart hit that home run against him. So, I mean, he'd gone a long while. The last to do it was Prince Fielder. Gargo took it to the wall on 1 hop.
That home run Hudson gave up, by the way, last inning to Ian Stewart, the first home run he's given up in 7 games. Just the 90th home run allowed by the Atlanta Braves pitching staff. That's the fewest in baseball. Next on the list, the Florida Marlins.
Well, think who they have in the Hanson, sinker baller, hard sinker baller, throw the ball well. They've got Derek Lowe, sinker baller, and then you've got Hudson that lives off the sinker ball also. You see a lot of balls get elevated. Really, the Rockies were able to do it.
A 1-2-3 5th inning for Tim Hudson. Rockies 3 and the Braves 2. 6-pitch inning. The great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money by College Invest, helping Colorado families save for college. By Larry H. Miller Boulder Toyota, driven by you. And by Big Brothers Big Sisters, be big and donate your car. You get a free tow, a tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. Brian McCann leading off the 6th inning. The Rockies leading 3-2. Rockies with the shift on again with McCann. Brian's 1 for 2.
see.
Yeah, get a little more pine tar.
Jeff, I want to ask you a question real quick. I see sometimes where guys lose the bat, and then the umpires won't let them reload. Why is that?
Try to speed up the game.
I mean, that's all. I mean, wouldn't you want? But
safety. I agree, George. I don't understand why they don't let them do it. Sometimes they say, no, get back in the box.
This is to second base. Tulowitzki is there, and McCann is retired. You know what, George? I've seen that, I think, one time. I know what you're referencing. I think it happened earlier this year.
I've seen it a lot.
I don't get it. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
how can you not allow them to put more stick-em on there?
Well, that's the whole point. It's all about the safety issue for me. I mean, as far as somebody getting hit in the stands with a bat, and it's uncomfortable, obviously, and lost it.
Eric Hinsky singled to left his last time up. Good yacker there, 0-1.
He's really relied on that is his out pitch in this ball game. 12-6 hook right over the top. We'll drop it right on the knee level of Iannetta. Come right back with it again, strike two.
And from the side here, you can really tell that he's focusing on finishing out front. It's so nice to see him when he gets out there and that ball's just going down at the end because he's thinking finish out front.
Looked like a changeup away.
I was talking about what Jeff's saying here. You look on the Hyundai Cam. In order to have a very good curveball, you got to get out front, pull. As you pull through, you see his hand and elbow come to the belly button area, and then beyond that left thigh area, you get the good downward plane on the baseball. So many guys will shorten their arm up a little bit, shorten the stride up on the breaking ball, make sure they're on top of it.
One and two on Eric Hinsky with one out. Rockies up 3-2 in the sixth. Repair that chip in your windshield by calling Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000, online at safelite.com. Go back to late April. The Braves lost 9 straight ball games. Finally snapped that losing streak on April the 30th. Since then, they're 65-37. 28 games above 500. That's the best mark in the game.
.95 pitches in this game right now. 63 of those are strikes. So tells you how he has been able to dominate, almost 10 to 3 differential on the ball strike every inning. Works here in the sixth with one out, a 2-2 count. You wonder about Hamilton. I've seen this, and you know, there's a lot of guys this way too. Once they reach that 100 to 110 pitch plateau, you almost got to be careful leaving him be out beyond that and see a higher earned run average. I mean, you know, whether it's 6 innings or 7 innings that he gets through that time frame, that's your concern. What happens there and what happens with it.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Matt Belisle in next inning, George, because Matt hasn't thrown since Friday night. And further your point, what you're saying is Jason's had a couple high stress innings too, where you know he had to get out of that one inning back in the fourth and also in the third, and it'd be a perfect opportunity to get him out with a 1-run lead, go to a fresh arm.
2-2, did he go? Not according to Tom Hallion. I thought he held up.
Yeah, I didn't think he went either. I mean, he's got a lot of body motion. I mean, that's the thing about it with him. You don't see the hands come on through, the bat come through. He's just a very big man at the plate. So you see all that movement, you think they went around. Tell you what, this is a Gonzalez type at bat. Earlier, Gonzalez had 11 pitches before they got him out on a line drive to right. You're seeing a little bit of this, but everything's trying to stay away and is trying to stay down to eliminate his power in a one-run game.
The major league average for strikes thrown is 63%. His next pitch is the 100th for Hamill. It's a strike, and it's his 72nd strike. So he's hit the strike zone 72% of the time. That's very impressive.
It's outstanding. You see another number of that breaking ball here, hard curveball just down into the dirt. I think Kinski finally decided to think, is he going to throw it to me this often? One more look at it, folks, on the Hyundai cam. Good rotation right on top, fingers on top of the baseball, pulling it through that front side.
One on Alex Gonzalez.
Even though he's hit a couple balls hard to right field, stay away from this guy. Don't come inside.
Hamill takes a deep breath. 0-2 on Gonzalez. Eyeing that into the outside corner, and he strikes him out with a slider. That's a tremendous inning for Jason Hamill. He picks off his 5th and 6th strikeouts of the ball game. 3-2 Colorado. Welcome back to the 6th inning. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. It was played by EY. Saw him flip behind his back the other day. That one he kind of flipped blind to Tulowitzki. And this play by Troy early in the ball game was a thing of beauty going in the hole. Our cross-brewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Tulowitzki will lead things off for the Rockies in the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Rockies have a 3-2 lead. Ian Stewart hit a 2-run home run in the 4th inning with Todd Helton at third base. Todd's 2 for 2 tonight, a single and double. He's on deck. Tim Hudson and Jason Hamill. Down the right field line, and Troy's going to have at least a double.
Second time in the ball game. You remember a nice play by Derek Lee in his previous at bat. for Tulowitzki. Now, everybody talking about shading him to the right side and still being able to go that way, but pitching to the defense is what Hudson's attempting to do. Troy just outthought everybody. He takes it to the right side, well out onto the front foot, but look at the angle of the bat. That back elbow dropping tight to the body and shooting the ball to the right side of the infield and by Derek Lee, who was off of the bag and on the ground. The ball zipped by him.
Helton has squared 2 balls up against Hudson. He's 8 for 12 lifetime against Tim Hudson. First time up, lines a single to center. Next time up, lines a double down the right field line. That double, number 523 of his career, tied him with Willie Mays' 37th all-time. And tied with another base hit. Tulowitzki around third. He's going to come home. The ball's dropped in center by Ankiel. No advancement from Helton. 4-2 Colorado. Todd Helton flat owns Tim Hudson. And you're talking about one of the premier pitchers in the game.
22nd RBI for Todd Helton on a belated happy birthday as he turned 37 while on the road trip. Helton smoked that ball right up the middle. Anytime you see a pitcher react, you see Hudson, he's going to react and duck, and the ball's already into the outfield. That ball was scalded by Helton. Tulowitzki would have scored anyway. Came right out into the glove perfect, but it was all on the transfer from Ankiel as he got it into his hands, and as he tried to rotate from a claw grip to a four-seam grip, he lost the baseball.
Smith 0 for 2 at the plate, and he takes a strike. Helton at first, enjoying his 4th 3-hit ball game of the year.
And they were all hit right on the button.
He couldn't hit him any harder.
Oh my goodness.
Two-strike count on Smith. And pulled foul.
Leake's still not convinced that he can't get to an inside fastball, yet you see him do it all the time. And they continue to try to come to the inner half on Seth Smith.
You'll probably see that either split finger or hard slider now from Hudson.
As McCann had to backhand that. Two and two. Center field, Ankiel will reach up and make the grab. He was hit hard. First out of the inning. Ian Stewart coming up. Let's take a look at his Amica home run zone, if you will. It's not how you're covered, it's how you're treated.
I'm not talking about so much where the hits come from, but this is where he's hit his home runs. And look at this. right out at number 7, now where he's hit 7 home runs out there. Look at where this pitch is. If you laid it over the top, it's right into the area that he left the yard on Tim Hudson. The happy zone.
Corner. 1-1. Let's take a look at today's Quest high-speed pitch. Hudson at 94, Hamill a couple of times has hit 96. Brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies. You know, Hamill's over 100 pitches, no action in the Rockies bullpen. Both the Rockies and Braves want to see Philadelphia lose, and the Phils lost to Houston tonight 3-2.
Well, the one team too that did win, St. Louis Cardinals, won 10-2 over Pittsburgh.
Giants at Cincinnati. That's a good series. 0-0 inning number 1. Swung on and missed, so Hudson comes back, strikes out Stewart. That's the second out in the 6th inning. Helton still at first as Iannetta comes up. It's the 5th strikeout for Tim Hudson. 4-2 ball game, and Hudson's due to hit second in the 7th inning. Right at Omar Infante. Rockies get a run though. Tulowitzki begins the inning with a double, and Todd Helton's 3 for 3 drives him in. 4-2 Rockies. We go to the 7th. ball taken out of the yard by Ian Stewart, a 2-run home run to give the Rockies a 3-0 lead. In the 5th inning, Martin Prado, look where he hits this ball. On a pitch that was about nose high. 14th home run for Prado, 2-run shot, 3-2, and then Todd Helton driving in Troy Tulowitzki a few minutes ago to make it 4-2. Helton's now 9 for 13 lifetime against Tim Hudson. Brooks Conrad out in the on-deck circle as the first pitch fouled off by Rick Ankiel. So Conrad apparently will hit for Tim Hudson. They have 3 left-handers down in their bullpen. And that's Eric O'Flaherty.
Very good left-hander, and then you got Belisle, the right-hander, going for the Rockies.
0-2. Bimal has joined him now. Curveball's high, 3-2 on Ankiel. In the air to deep right field, and this one is gone. It is 4-3. Rick Ankiel with his first home run this year.
The Braves hoping to get some dividends from this young outfielder, and they got it here with one swing of the bat. They got it on the inner half of the plate. Inetta sets up in, the ball's in, and it's up a little bit. Keel knew when he hit this thing. He remembers this sound and this feel. And it left the yard to make it a 1-run ball game.
Now how big's that hit by Helton?
Huge.
And a slider for a strike on Brooks Conrad.
Well, huge in a couple ways too, because if it's tied up now, Hudson might stay in the ball game.
Let me correct something. It's his first National League home run this year. He hit 4 with the Royals. So 5th home run this year for Ankiel. Sharply hit. It's played by Eric Young. Hey, Huey, you played some second base. Have you ever slid, gotten up that quick in your life?
No, sirree. I was just admiring that myself. That's some quick footwork. Be able to go all the way to your left, slide, and then pop up as quick as he did. Get yourself in a good throwing position. Ball was hit hard. He gave ground on it to get the better hop on it. A little hop, a little jump. But you know what? He made the play. That was a beautiful play. We've seen so many now from Eric Young. And think about the behind the back flip. And that was the one area that some people were like, well, could he play second base? So far, he's played some pretty outstanding second base.
Yeah, I was talking to Richie Dower about it. Here's another chance for him. That got under his glove. And Richie felt like his hands had become softer since his last stint in AAA. So base hit for Infante, and that'll bring up Jason Hayward.
The ball hit hard, but it's still a ball that Eric Young Jr. will tell you he should have had and planted the foot. Maybe got a little bit quick with trying to do that. Jim Tracy out of the dugout, pops out, and Mr. Bimal will come on to face Mr. Hayward.
So Jason Hamill goes 6 1/3. So far, he's allowed 3 runs on 8 hits. Rockies leading 4-3. Bible will make his 56th appearance, as he'll be asked to get Hayward. And I don't know if he'll be asked to get anybody else, because behind Hayward is Prado, a right-handed bat, Derek Lee, another right-handed bat, and then the switch hitter McCann.
56th appearance for Mr. Bimel coming into this ball game.
Did I say switch hitter?
For who?
Yes, you did. Hitter. No, he's not a switch hitter. Left-handed bat. But you have 2 righties, my point coming up after.
You're all right. Knew right where you were going.
Right. So Bimel completing his warm-up pitches. We'll ask you if you started a saving for your children's college dreams. My wife and I have done that. And we're proud to tell you we've done it with a College Invest 529 saving plan for each one of our children. And with college costs rising as they are every day, it seems like, you want to get started early. The way to do it is to contact collegeinvest.org. Get started saving for your children's futures. You can do it for as little as $25, and you can set up automatic deposits as well. Here's Hayward. Bob will go and check on Omar Infante. 4-3 Colorado. Good ball game tonight. Rockies returning home to Coors Field, where they're 18 games above 500.
282 against right-handers, 231 against left-handers for Mr. Hayward. Most of the time with younger players like this at the plate, hitters, when you get the left-on-left matchup, don't make a mistake with the slider, because typically they're bailing away from the ball. They're not staying on a pitch like they would normally. So the big key here, don't make a mistake with a slider out over the plate.
Another good outing for Jason Hamill. Ground ball to help, chance for 2. There's 1. Double play. 3-6-3. Started by Todd Helton. In the inning, Ian Keel tightens things up again with a home run. 4-3 Rockies.
Colorado, bottom of the 7th inning. Quickly, a little story about the Atlanta Braves. They opened up the season under Lou Piniella, beating the Cubs under Lou Piniella 16-5 at Turner Field. They did the same thing yesterday under Lou Piniella in his final game, beating them 16-5 at Wrigley with very different lineups. You can take a look. Only 3 positions remain the same. Brian McCann, Melky Cabrera, and Jason Hayward. Not one player, though, remained in the same spot in the batting order. So Piniella's first game this season and his last game this season, the same feat, 16-5. Very different lineup by the Braves, guys.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing this year about the Atlanta Braves. I mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, the fact that they have a bunch of new players in their lineup. I mean, Derek Lee was acquired just a few days ago. Rick Ankiel in center field, started the year with the Kansas City Royals. Alex Gonzalez, new shortstop. Barmes pinch hitting. Lines out to Omar Infante. Barmes pinch hitting for Beimel is gone, and that'll bring up Eric Young.
Well,
new pitcher's Eric O'Flaherty, George.
Yeah, and he's been pretty special, too. 32 1/3. They've got some very good young arms down here. Left-handers have hit just 210 against him. Right-handers 255. You see the overall number over 42 games at 3-1. Explosive fastball. This kid can pitch a little bit. 91 to 95 fastball. Slider to go along with it. He'll run it to 88 miles an hour when he wants to get on top and really cut that pitch. And then he'll also throw a curveball with it and a changeup. Right-hander recently acquired Farnsworth, Kansas City Royals also. He's always been a favorite of Jim Fergosi's. Fergosi got him a couple of years ago. He left the Braves and went to pitch for a couple of ball clubs. Back again. Big, strong right-hander, still throws the ball in the high 90s, can touch 100 at times. Let's not forget about Dollar Hot Dog Night coming up on August the 24th. The first 10,000 will receive a coupon for a Hebrew National Hot Dog Night. It's against the Atlanta Braves.
So Tim Hudson.
Haven't done it, get them now.
Yeah, Tim Hudson's night is done. He goes 6 innings. He allows 4 runs on 7 hits. He walks 1 and strikes out 5. The runs are the most he's given up in a ball game since June 23rd, when he also allowed 4 in 7 innings in a loss to the White Sox in Chicago. Last time he gave up more than that in a ball game, George, earned runs, wasn't this year. Actually, you know what? I missed one ball game. Let me correct something. As Young is gone. He had a bad outing on July 17th against Milwaukee. He gave up 6 runs in 6 2/3. That's it, though. In 2010, it's just the 3rd time this year he's given up 4 or more in a ball game. 2 outs. Dexter Fowler at the plate. So Hudson has the hook, and Hamels on the plus side. Hard ground ball. Diving stop made by Martin Prado. That's a terrific play. Great play by Prado as he robs Dexter Fowler of a base hit. 7 innings completed Coors Field. Rockies 4 and the Braves 3. 4-3 Colorado, top of the 8th inning. And the Rockies have brought in their 8th inning specialist, Rafael Betancourt, as we take a look at our Breaks Plus poll of the game. Lou Piniella, should he be in the Hall of Fame as a manager? And there's still time to text. 95323 is how you do it. And 78% believe he is a Hall of Fame manager.
And I agree with him.
Yep. He's done a lot for the game. 48 years in the game. Here's Clint Barmas. He's now at second base for Eric Young. Martin Prado, the 3-hole hitter, to face Rafael Betancourt, who's just dominated right-handed hitters this year, especially the last couple of months. 94 on the black. How do you like that? Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Xfinity Voice. Unlimited local and long distance calling. Call 1-800-XFINITY. Prado, a 2-run home run in the 5th inning to get Atlanta on the scoreboard. Yes, how good has Betancourt been? Righties hitting 197 against him. 10th for their last 75. And he struck out 30 of the last 65 outs on the right side.
50% of the time. This was the guy you want in on the 8th inning. You have that plus side of your bullpen and the tied and negative side of the bullpen when you trail. Obviously, Betancourt, this is one man's line.
Yeah, it's going to drop. That's a shame. That's a Coors Field single right there.
Well, Clint got a good break on it. It's just when he went to turn around, the ball kind of died and went over to his right a little bit, because the break was fine.
Well, he got a good break on it. I think when he ran back on this baseball, a lot of times he put the head down and kind of glance at it, and he was hoping to get it, but I think he outran the baseball, to be honest with you, Jeff. I think he ran past it. Put the head down to run to a spot where he thought it was going to be.
Now that brings up Derek Lee, who so far has struggled in a Braves uniform. 1 for 14. Robbed of a hit by Tulowitzki in the 1st inning, and then he was struck out in his next 2 plate appearances against Hamill. Hamill struck out 6 in 6 1/3. Strike 1. Prado, an occasional base stealer. He's 4 for 7.
They don't have a lot of base stealers on their ball club. It's more kind of picked as private, you know, the right spot to do it.
Swung on and missed. It's 0-2.
The other thing, I think Rafael just kind of a token throw over there to make sure that they realize I haven't forgotten about you completely.
Away at 96.
That might be one of the hardest balls we've seen him throw all year.
Yeah.
He's typically 92, 94, touch 95 occasionally. Then very rarely you see 96. Stays on line so well to the plate, allows his arm to get out of the glove quickly. Very short arm action out of the glove, and then on top of that, good slider and a changeup he's developed to use against left-handers. 15 punch-outs this month and 7 in the 3rd inning. How good is that? Add him up, there's more.
And he comes right after him and strikes out Derek Lee with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 out in the 8th.
Well, location's everything. High fastball in the inner half to a tall guy that's trying to stretch and extend his arms to get some power generated through this bat, and he just threw the ball right by him.
And now Brian McCann, three-time Silver Slugger Award winner for best offensive player at his position. 5 straight All-Star games for the Atlanta catcher. Missed 0-1. If your windshield needs repairing, call SafeLight Auto Glass 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com.
Well, you don't mind getting a couple of calls when you're around the plate. You anticipate to get that off the plate a little bit. You got one here.
You're going to go back out there.
Nullify the power.
Strike 3. All over the glove of Iannetta. You couldn't have run it up there and handed it to Chris Iannetta any more perfectly, Jeff Houston, than that pitch was delivered.
Well, and that's why he got the call, too, because it's right in the same spot. He called the second pitch, and nothing Brian McCann can do but walk back to the dugout, because the one before it was called a strike. This one was even a little bit closer to the outside part of the plate. And what a frame job also from Chris. Wade turned his glove ever so slightly to make sure he held it into the zone and made it appear like it was right there.
You take the same strategy here with Eric Hensky, who has long ball power.
He's going to beat you, make him beat you going away with the single. Don't come inside.
Prado, a bloop single. He's at first. 2 outs in the 8th inning. The Rockies ahead 4-3. 4 runs, 7 hits for the Rockies. 3 runs and 10 hits for Atlanta. They had 16 runs and 16 hits yesterday in Chicago. Braves are 22 games above 500 for the 3rd time this year. They haven't gone 23 over since September of 2005. And the Rockies would like to keep it that way. Bobby Cox peering on. Bobby's going to stay with the organization, for those that don't know. He's retiring as the manager, but he signed a 5-year agreement to be a consultant in many areas.
Well, the thing he loves is watching the game. And what he, go down to the minor leagues, evaluate the player, the position guys, give him time in spring training. And really, realistically, I think, Jeff, that's probably the biggest adjustment for players is the spring, because you're for 15 years, and in Bobby's instance, for 50 some odd years, he's drove his truck to Florida and went to spring training.
Yeah, that's hard because it starts the calendar flips over to the new year. You get to January and you start to go, okay, I got another month before spring training. Right. And then next thing you know, February's around, 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, what do I do when I'm not playing anymore? Besides drive your wife nuts.
Two one. And that's high. 3-1. It's a rare 3-ball count. Betancourt in his last outing walked a batter, which has happened 6 times this year. He has 66 strikeouts and just 6 walks. An 11-to-1 ratio. That is top 2 in baseball. And ball 4. So Eric Hensky draws a walk. And now Alex Gonzalez will come up with the tying run at second base in Prado.
The fastball that's low in the zone, it sunk out of it. That's why it did not get called a strike. You'll see on the overhead it is off the plate. Now he and Gonzalez have matched up. And Gonzalez 1 for 4. Bob Apodaca out to make sure everybody, including Iannetta, is on the same page as far as how they want to attack Gonzalez. It has nothing to do with the defense. They just don't want to get to anybody else. This is the guy they want.
We're going to pull Hensky out of the ball game. And the pinch runner is going to be Diori Hernandez for the trail runner. So Diori Hernandez at first base. Gonzalez tonight has lined out to right twice and struck out. Ball 1. Gonzalez getting comfortable again in the National League after spending a few months in the American League this year. For his last 8 games, hitting .355. He's reached in 18 of his last 21. Two outs, 2 on. 8th inning, 4-3 Rockies. Line drive left center field, and this will not only tie up the game. Hernandez is going to get a stop sign, fortunately, at third. Brian Snitker waited, and then he gave the stop sign to Hernandez, the pinch runner. Gonzalez has tied it up, and here the Braves go again, late in ball games. They have done it all year long.
20th RBI in a Brave uniform already for Gonzalez, and it's not so much the walk that got you, it's a blue pit that did not dropped out in the middle of nowhere. I tell you what, Gonzalez does a really good job circling the baseball and then finding Tulowitzki, the strongest arm up the middle between he and Barnes. So Barnes going to coast into second base. Now he's going to get into alignment, go back to second, Tulowitzki with it, and at that point they're not going to even challenge the arm of Tulowitzki. I hope Ankiel can do something. Looks like Milky Cabrera has come out in the on-deck circle.
2 in scoring position. Rick Ankiel homered his first Atlanta Brave home run in his last at bat. That made it 4-3.
was a heck of a block just a moment ago for Chris Iannetta, where that ball landed kind of out towards the front part of the plate.
Do that right by him up. Learned sometimes from the mistakes. They'll chase up there and elevated that fastball. They got by him in a hurry. They wanted it down and away, but sometimes when you make a mistake as a pitcher, it allows you to learn things when it's a swing and a miss.
One ball, one strike to count on Ankiel. That's out of play.
Looking at the last at bat, you can see where the numbers and where they tried to work it. You know, everybody, and you start to look at this, basically it was here and above with the fastball, and he ended up taking that center fastball and leaving the yard with it. So far, they've tried to work down and away. They elevated up. Heading the count 1-2.
And that breaking ball he didn't get on top of. 2-2. Johnny Venters is warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. A nasty left-hander. Two-two. This is popped up, foul ground, and now out of play. Back about a dozen rows.
I want to take Bobby Cox talked. He talked about the late wins of games, but what he said is this team plays 27 outs. You know, he just said that when they get down 3 or 4 runs or 2 runs, they don't shut the button off. You know, they still think that run here, make a play here, make a pitch here. Then in the end, they got a chance to win every ball game. And 22 of those on the year. Probably the amazing thing is there's been 14 different players that are the guys that have played into those 22 last at bat wins.
Yeah, 14 different guys have driven in the go-ahead run. They have 39 come from behind wins. And the Rockies at one point led 3-0 here through 4 innings. 2-2. Swung on and missed. And Keel goes down swinging. Betancourt ends up striking out the side, but Alex Gonzalez ties it with a double. Tech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. 4-4 ball game as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rockies have been out hit 11-7. Jason Hamill will get a no decision. Tim Hudson now will get a no decision. It's on the bullpens. Todd Helton has 3 hits in the game. Stewart has a 2-run home run. And Keel has hit a home run for the Braves, along with Martin Prato's 2-run shot earlier. Carlos Gonzalez will lead things off, then Tulowitzki and Helton to face Johnny Venters, who may be, folks, the nastiest left-hander in the National League. He throws gas, and talking to Todd Helton before the ball game about Venters, he said, I have the utmost respect for Hung-Chi Kuo. He said his stuff's even better than Kuo's of the Dodgers. 97 on that fastball with sink.
And that's what makes it unusual, that it's not straight at 97, that it has sink on it, and it has sink going into lefties.
Big Baltimore chop foul. Venters' numbers are ridiculous.
Silly. They're silly numbers. 58 games, 4-0 overall record. Look, 1 for 4 and a save opportunity, and earned run average. Look at the strikeouts and walks. Left-handers are having a lot of fun. $1.76.
It's pretty good for a 30th round pick, huh? And a base hit to right center. He got a slider and he dropped the barrel on it. Here, that's a pretty good piece of hitting.
You know what? That's why he is good as he is. I mean, because nobody else. That's a difficult pitch to hit. And all of a sudden, he's got the leg kick, everything. It just kind of throws his bat a little bit like Ichiro. Gets out on that front side, and then the hands still stay in the zone long enough.
Well, the Rockies go about their business a little differently than the Atlanta Braves. The Rockies are not afraid to run. They have more guys that can do it than Atlanta, but you got a left-hander out there in Venters, and you got your cleanup hitter in Tulowitzki up there. I saw Bobby last inning. He just waited for the hit. He got it from Alex Gonzalez. Even though Betancourt typically is not super fast to the plate. There goes Cargo, and the throw to second is there, but Cargo must have got his hand in. The explanation from Ed Rapuano, Gonzalez with his 20th stolen base, and that surprised, I think, everybody.
I think it really did too, including his catcher that's gone into the ball game, because this ball was caught. It looked like it beat him there, and then Gonzalez got the ball up in front. I think the Rockies may have got one. I think Eddie Rapuano was blocked from seeing the tag applied. See here? Tag applied, hands about 6 to 8 inches, but with Eddie's viewpoint this way, he can't see to the bag. I think that's got away with one. Now make him pay for it. Get the lead run here in the bottom of the 8th.
On Tulowitzki.
Milestones, a couple of them tonight. 20 stolen bases now for Cargo, 80 RBIs. 20 guy now with 25 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Houston Street starting to toss in the Rockies bullpen.
3-0. We just saw a 2020 guy down in Phoenix with Chris Young. 20-plus home runs this year. He's got 25 stolen bases, and now Carlos Gonzalez joins him. Go ahead, run at second base. Nobody out. 3-0 on Tulowitzki.
Give me over fastball at 95.
Nice to have that.
Yeah, 3-0.
25-year-old Johnny Venters, native of Kentucky. Ball 4. And now Helton will come up against Venters with 2 on.
This looked like pretty good pitch from Venters on the outside part of the plate. Fourth strike zone indicates it was a strike, not called a strike. They run Colton.
Rockies faced Venters back on April 17th. He actually went 3 innings in relief of Kenshin Kawakami. He faced Helton that night, and Todd walked against him in single. But despite that, afterward and again tonight, as I told you earlier, Todd was saying that guy's stuff is silly good.
Well, he threw a pitch the other day against James Loney that Loney swung at and ended up hitting him. That's how much movement he had on the ball.
Todd fouls that pitch off. It's 0-2. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Helton has hit the ball tonight 3 times. Right on the button. This is as good a night as he has had at the plate all year. Tight. By the way, from Carlos Gonzalez, a little more on the 2020 club. He's the 6th Rocky ever to be in the 2020 club. The last member, the guy at first, Troy Tulowitzki, last year, when he stole 20 bases and hit 32 home runs. Outside on Helton, it's 2-2. Bottom of the 8th inning. It's been a very well-played game. 4-4. Rockies trying to take down the leaders of the National League East, the Atlanta Braves. 2-2 on Helton. Look at that got the bat. Wow. You hear that nick and where that pitch was. For an instant, I thought it hit the helmet.
Kind of had the same sound.
Well, I know this. Your eyes just got dilated if you're Todd Helton. I mean, this is a heater. I don't know how it hit the bat and how it missed him on the Hyundai cams. He started that stride and then that bend, and oh my goodness, how am I going to get out of the way of this thing?
Talk about courage.
Yeah.
Now you're going to go step in, plant the spikes on that left foot and get ready to hit again after you had a 97-mile-an-hour fastball at your coconut. And that slider was up and in. 3-2.
Well, it appeared that way because it went right at him, and he threw it with such velocity at 85 miles an hour. And then right at the last second, it just kind of downward tilt and cut. A lot of young kids that come into this ballpark, though, they try to overpower the baseball versus making sure they stay where they need to with it.
Todd wasted that pitch. Todd had yesterday off for the most part. Giambi started, though Helton would come in the ball game in the 8th inning to play first base, and he had a 9th inning at bat and walked. These are 4 high-quality at bats he's had tonight.
This is a true professional at bat right now. To be able to take one, as you said, Drew, earlier, right by the head, then the hard slider, and then still stay in there and fighting some balls off and trying to back leg one.
Ground ball up the middle with Gonzalez. Base hit. Gonzalez around third, coming home. He'll score and throw to third. Tulowitzki out there. Helton's 4 for 4, and the Rockies lead it 5-4.
Yeah, most impressive thing for me for Todd Helton in that hole at bat was the fact that it went at the coconut. The next pitch was a slider at him also, and then finally he fouled off, and on the 9th pitch of the at bat, he takes a base hit right back up the middle to score Gonzalez. This is the old Todd Helton that you're used to see, getting base hits in pressure situations that you haven't seen much this year, and Helton with a 2 RBI night.
Not only 4 hits, 4 of the best at bats we've seen Todd take this year. And then he overthrows the next fastball to Smith. 5-4.
I also like that play from Choi going first to third. I know he was thrown out, but in this instance, at the bottom of the 8th, go ahead and make sure that that run scores.
Well, this is served center field, but it stays up in the air, and Ankiel grabs it. 2 outs. Let me ask you a question about that, because on one hand you say you forced the throw, but clearly the key, if you have any chance of getting the lead runner, the runner who's going to score, that's who Ankiel's going to go after.
No, but I've also seen Ankiel make some amazing throws here at Coors Field. I think back to a couple years ago, he made some when he was playing center field, so I don't want to even take a chance that he throws a laser to home.
Yeah, but this is a flare, and it's going to be grabbed by the shortstop, Gonzalez. We'll debate it more at another point in time. It works out well for the Rockies. Todd Helton drives in Carlos Gonzalez. 5-4 as we go to the 9th. Ninth inning, Houston streaks aboard. After the ball game, the post-game report, Mark Stout will be hosting tonight. Hey, Mark.
Yes, indeed, Drew, and we're going to be talking about the Coors Original. Todd Helton, 4 for 4 tonight. What a night for number 17. 2020 Cargo joining that club, and the Rockies starter was hard to handle tonight. Jason Hamill, another nice outing. It's all coming up after the game. Guys?
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Last 4-hit game for Todd Helton last July against the San Diego Padres at Petco. All started with that Cargo base hit. That was some kind of at bat, wasn't it, Jeff?
It was, just to be able to battle, first of all, from Carlos Gonzalez and then Todd. I mean, that whole inning, the way it was nice to see after coming off the road where you couldn't get that big hit.
How about the rally against Johnny Venters, who gives up a run like once every 2 months?
See the numbers on Houston Street. He's going to have to come in now with confidence and nail down this save for Betancourt in his ball club.
Melky Cabrera pinch hitting and leading it off, and the fastball on the outside corner for a strike. Former Yankee Cabrera in his first year in an Atlanta Braves uniform. 0-2 on Cabrera. Street trying to save it from Betancourt.
10 of 14 in save opportunity. You know, and it's not so much save for Betancourt, but Drew, and yes, he would be the winning pitcher, but save it for his team after a rough road trip where they haven't played well and things haven't gone the way they've needed to.
Saved the ball game yesterday, a 1-0 win for the Rockies. Tracy. Got him with a slider. Down and in. 1 out in the 9th inning.
The last couple of times at Houston Street, I mean, I understand he wanting the changeup to be able to throw against left-handers, but when his slider's down, it's just flat nasty. People don't hit it. He's got the strikeout of Cabrera here with a slider down and in. That's the frustrating point sometimes as you watch Houston Street perform. He has such a dynamic slider and a very good hard sinker to the outside part of the plate and inside that he can command to get beat with the third best pitch, a changeup that drives you crazy. Ground ball right at Barnes, not an easy play.
No, not at all. I'll tell you what, Huey, that thing had a lot of English on it.
Well, it was hit right off the end of the bat, too. And with those cup bats, sometimes they'll start to spin. And Clint did the right thing by just bodying up on it. Make sure he kept it in front. Well, he got it in the stomach, made the out. One more look at this. As he comes to get it, realize that way, if I keep going, I'm going to get a really bad hop. Let me just make sure I get enough distance so I can feel it and then get the out.
2 outs, nobody on. Dangerous man at the plate, Jason Hayward. 3 for 4 tonight. He was 4 for 4 yesterday with 2 home runs in Chicago. In there on the outside corner, strike 1. The top rookies in the game. Came into 2010 heralded as the top prospect in the game. And he has played well in his freshman season. On the corner again, it's 0-2.
Live down and away, keep it to the outside part of the plate. The reputation you built through the league will get you this pitch off of the plate. Stay away from the power of this young Mr. Hayward.
0-2, and that was tantalizing for Jason Hayward. And that was the intent of the pitch, 1-2.
I'd like to see him go back to that same spot that he's got Hayward earlier, but also struck out Brian McCann just off the plate.
That's what that pitch was, a changeup just off the plate, 2-2. Five for Colorado. Here's the 2-2. He's got it. Rockies win it 5-4. Todd Helton, the star of the game. And a great return to Coors Field for the Rockies. They knock off one of the best teams in baseball, the Atlanta Braves, by a final again of 5-4. Betancourt gets the win. Street his 11th save, and Johnny Venters takes the loss for the Braves.